Hello, welcome back. So now we are going to continue with our series of discussion regarding research writing. Specifically, we are going to discuss a very short and simple part of your research, which is the definition of terms, or another term used for definition of terms is operational definition of variables. So why is it called operational definition of variables, or ODV? Later on in this video, we are going to explain and discuss further. So join me in this series of research writing entitled How to Write the Definition of Terms. Okay, so in this part of your research entitled Definition of Terms, or again, it is otherwise known as the Operational Definition of Variables, or ODV, the simplest function of this part of your research is that it specifically gives the function of the word or term that you used according to how it is used in your research. So this is different from getting the definition directly from the dictionary. Why? Because there are various definitions in the dictionary that will not be consistent or relevant with how you use it in your research. That's why the term used today is operational definition of variables. Number one, because operational refers to how the word or the term was used specifically in your research. That is why it is called operational. And then the other term used in our title, variable, means that these are elements that are critical in your research. It is so important that these variables can be seen and should be reflected in your research title. How to write the definition of terms. So, in this sample research, this was my thesis that I did during my days in my master's class. I am going to show you the output of the definition of terms done according to the format prescribed by our university. So before I do that, let me just tell you that the initial part of your definition of terms should be, first is a very short introductory statement. So it is so short that, like what the terms refers to, it is a statement or a sentence. So you don't need to make a very long discussion on what the content of this part of your research is. So in this case, it is said that for a better understanding of this study, the following terms are defined in the context of this research. And then that's it. And then you start with the actual terms that you want to be reflected and understood. If these terms are technical, underline and emphasize the word technical terms that was used in your research. So most of the time, a little advice, make sure that you reflect the variables, independent and dependent variables from your title, and reflect it in your definition of terms. Okay? As promised, I informed you earlier that I will be showing you the part of the definition of terms as written in this thesis. So you have the title, definition of terms, and then from this part, for a better understanding of the study, the following terms are defined in the context of this research. So this is what we call the introductory statement. And then, going through the terms, the first one is browser, because this is a instructional material related to computers. So the first term that I included was browser, and then the second one is computer literacy. Using these two terms, you can see that the terms should be arranged in alphabetical order. Okay, so that's one. Second, the terms should be aligned and indented with the first indentation of the introductory statement. Again, the first one, the term should be in alphabetical order. Second, it should be indented. And then third, the term should end immediately with a period. So with or without the underline, it would still be accepted, but make sure you end it with a period. So then the definition of the browser, according to how it was used and how it is understood in the research, is indicated. So again, another advice, do not make a very lengthy definition of your terms. So if you're going to see on the second page, you have a continuation and then the corresponding definition, operational definition, and then after that, that's it. This is already the next part of the research, which is the scope and delimitation of the research. So if we're going to look at the content of the definition of terms, it doesn't need to be lengthy. So this one is only 1.5 page long, which is considered already more than enough for your definition of terms. So you do not need to fill and overflow your definition of terms with different technical terms. Only those that are significant and relevant to your research. Okay, so that is the end of this series of our research writing, which is the part of the definition of terms, or again, the operational definition of variables, or ODV. So as promised, it was very short. Do not complicate your definition of terms, because it would also reflect problems in the future, specifically in your defense, if these terms are not even reflected in your research. So I hope this was helpful, and again, please support the channel, click subscribe, and then click the bell button for notifications of further videos. So thank you and goodbye. See you on the next video.